Hi, this is Dave Libby, and today I'm going to take you through training on the new Fidelity time system. This training is primarily for hourly employees who need to learn how to punch in and out of the system, as well as salary and hourly employees who need to know how to review their time off as well as to request time off. So the first thing an employee will need to do to access the system is to type in their browser fidelitytime.centralservers.com, and that is the way an employee will access the Fidelity time system. When they enter this into their browser, this is the screen that pops up. An employee will need to add their client ID, which for Boys and Girls Clubs of Boston is BGCB. It's the same for every employee. The next thing an employee will need to do is to log in with their ID. And the employee ID or the login ID is the employee number and their last name. So for training purposes, the employee's name is John Clubhouse and his employee number is 5000. So John will type in 5000 Clubhouse. It is case sensitive. Managers have been provided all employees' login IDs. So if you're not sure what yours is, please contact your manager. If they're not around, please contact myself or Sequoia Sullivan in payroll. When you initially log into the system, your password will be the same as your login ID. So in this case for John, his initial password was 5000 Clubhouse. At that point, you'll be prompted to reset your password. I've already reset John's password, so I'm going to log in with his new password. Again, it is case sensitive. When I log in, I'm going to get this screen. There is a navigation overlay. It basically helps you to learn where certain things are in Fidelity time. As you can see here, it points out the current time. Up in the right-hand corner is your employee name. That is where you can go to view preferences and to log out. If I click next, it goes to another overlay. It will show me where I can punch in or submit timesheets. I can view my time card totals. I can look where my last punch was and make my next punch. We do not use schedules here at Boys and Girls Clubs of Boston, so the schedule icon is grayed out. You will not be able to access that. And then lastly, you will be able to view your available hours or make a time off request in the time off icon. So I'm going to close the overlay. You will get a message that asks you whether or not you want to display the information overlay in the future. I would recommend you leave it on until the point that you're more comfortable with the different icons and the different actions you can do within Fidelity time. So the first thing I want to point out is the action bar, which is here at the top. You'll see these icons. There's a clock in, a begin meal, an end meal if you're eligible for a lunch, and a clock out. This is the easiest place for an employee to clock in and clock out. They just come here, click clock in, it will tell you that the punch was saved, and then a timer will start, showing today's hours. It also goes to the next punch automatically. So an employee who punches in, like John, the next clock action will be begin a meal. You can see that's highlighted here. If they don't get a meal at the end of the shift, they're just going to come here and they're going to clock out. So this is the action bar. If they want to see detail, you can go to the action icon And this will list the punches for the period today. As you can see, John punched in at 11:27 a.m. as a clock in. Again, you can also click on the icons to punch in and out here, and it will list them in this particular area. So if an employee wants to see detail of his punches for the day, this is where they will come. An employee can also look at their time card. As you can see, this particular time card, it shows John punching in. If there was more detail here, we would see hours down here, total hours, whether they be work hours, meal breaks, holiday, time off. It all gets subtotaled for the pay period here. Employees can change the calendar and look at different pay periods as well as work weeks. In order to leave this box, you can click this arrow in the left-hand corner, or you can click outside the box. So that's pretty much it for punching in and out. Again, there's a couple different areas an employee can do it. They can use the action bar here, or they can come in here and click the action icon and look at detail. 4 icons to punch in and out, the clock in, the begin meal, the end meal, but only if they're eligible for meal breaks, and then the clock out at the end of the shift. Then they can review time cards for specific pay periods, specific weeks. When they start accumulating time, they're going to see it on the outside of this particular icon. So this will actually populate with data from within. So if John had regular hours, say he had 6 regular hours, a 6 would show here with a total of 6. There is a messages icon. I'll click into it, where employees can create new messages for their managers, as well as reply to messages. The next thing I want to show is the Help button up here in the left-hand corner. An employee can click on that. They will see different types of documents to help with training. There's one for web punching, submitting timesheets, time off request, time card approvals, and an overall user guide. So if an employee is unsure about doing something, they can click on the Help menu, they can click on the link, and a document will come up, this document here, and walk them through how to, in this particular case, punch in and out. Close that. I'm going to go up here to where the name is and the drop down. You can change preferences, date formats, how you want your name, what you want to see on the employee dashboard. Initially, I would just leave this alone and allow the system to default. Again, as you get more comfortable with it, if you want to change some things, this is where you would do it. It will also allow you to change your password here and to log out of the system. Now I want to start talking about time off requests. So this impacts hourly and salaried employees. So if you are accruing any sort of time off, you will need to log into the system and you will click on the time off icon. As you can see in this ribbon here, we've set the system up so it shows vacation time that you have. So for John, currently he has 30 hours of vacation time. I'm going to click into this icon. And you will see that John has 18 hours of sick time, and again, as we said from the front, 30 hours of vacation time. Down below here is the request status. So if John had requested any time off, it would show here. So if I want to request time off, all I'm going to do is click this button. I'm going to select the time off that's available. In this particular case, John has sick and vacation. He doesn't have any United Way or personal. So I'm going to leave it with vacation. I'm going to change the date range. So John wants to take Thursday the 12th and 13th off. Start time is going to be at 8 a.m. The hours per day are going to populate automatically based on your normal hours. So in this particular case, John is an employee who typically works anywhere between 25 and 29 hours a week. That means he's eligible for five hours a day. And if John wanted to put a note in here, he could put a note in here. John's going to the Bahamas for a long weekend. He's just putting that in there, and then he's going to submit. Again, down in the request status, it comes up the day he wants off, how many hours he's looking, and it's been requested. An email is going to be generated to his manager. At that particular point in time, the manager can approve it, and the status will change to approve. There are a couple things that an employee can do. They can click on the view chart, which basically tracks in a chart format time off. Helps employees see if they have remaining time, how close they are to using all their time. And they can view a calendar. The calendar will show them what time they've requested, as well as time that's been approved, along with holidays. Employees will only be able to see their own time in the calendar. So as you can see here, John requested the 12th and 13th. They're showing up on the calendar. Again, it also shows holidays. In this particular case, Independence Day is showing up. That's it for requesting time off. The last icon that I want to review is the reports. It's pretty basic. There are two reports that employees can look at. The first one is that they can run time cards. They can select it by the current day. They can look at it by pay period. Again, they can change the settings for time periods on which they want to run the report. They can also select a different report format, whether it be PDF, Excel, or a TIFF/PNG file. Employees can also look at time off accruals, so the different types of accruals that they have, and they can set the date range on when they want to look at those. So if an employee wants to know how much time they took off in the month of May, and they want to look at all of them, they can check all of the boxes that they're available for and run that report. And it will give them the time off that they took during that period. And that is pretty much it for the Fidelity time system as far as training for hourly employees knowing how to punch in and out of the system, as well as hourly and salaried employees who need to request time off from the system. If you have any questions, you can talk to your manager, or you can review the documentation in the help file, or you can contact myself or Sequoia Sullivan, and we can help you with any questions that you have. Thank you.